Okay, so once you get your storm and sanitary in, next step would be to add in the water pipe. Now, if you remember back when we talked about storm water sanitary requirements, the water also had to be 10 feet horizontally at least away from the sanitary sewer, and it's got to be a depth of 7.5 feet to the top of the pipe minimum from the surface. So basically, to get started with the water pipe is we're going to want the water pipe to make basically a complete loop and also connect back out to the street right where our sanitary tie-in is. Because most likely there's a water, uh, basically a line that's been placed here to tap into the main water source for the subdivision. So one thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to start over here. Um, if you've already got the poly lines on top of your sanitary sewer pipe, then you're already good to go. You can just offset those. So here I do have my sanitary sewer pipe with the line on top of it, but up here I do not. So um, I'm going to have to draw that in manually. So still on my 1-pipe rough layer, I'm going to draw in those polylines. So just going from um, this point all the way down. Now the thing to keep in mind is that when I've got a circle around my structure, or at the point where my structure is, it's great, I can snap to the center, but these structures have no center to them. So really the only way to get them to go to the center is either you can kind of eyeball it and go from endpoint to endpoint on the edge of these and try to hopefully you get the right, you get directly across from each other. One way that I would rather do it would be to just basically snap to the endpoint of my pipe and then right click to get out or escape. So it doesn't quite get to the center, but then what you do is you just activate polyline again, go from the endpoint at that pipe, go to the next endpoint. Okay, once you get those two lines in there, all you got to do is fillet them. So F for fillet, and again, my radius would be 0, so R0. By doing that, it'll just connect straight in the middle. So now it's right in that middle portion. Now it's one solid polyline. Then I'd keep on going all the way around, and so on. So next thing I would do is, since my storm is on this side, my water will be on this side. So just activate offset and make sure you have 10-foot separation. So 10 feet to that side. Oops. All right. This one I don't need. Offset 10 feet. That side. There we go. Now from that, then I can basically start putting in my pipes for my water network. So if I go over here to my pipe networks, expand my networks, I have water. So now I can put these, or I can start making that network. So I'm going to right click on my water and go to edit network, and I've already got this set up. So now with water systems, you're not going to have a structure because, or it's going to be a null structure. Basically, it would put a circle on the page. It's just a position or something for the pipes to attach to, because you're not at every single little bend. You're not having a structure come up to the surface. Um, the only structures you'd have with water would be hydrants, gate valves, curb stops, things like that. But they'd be placed at different locations, and we're not really worried about that at the moment. We said that we were going to do HDPE pipe, so I'm going to go and expand my HDPE, and I'm going to choose a 6-inch HDPE. HDPE stands for high density polyethylene. It's a better pipe for anything that we're dealing with pressure. It's a little stronger than normal PVC, but it is a plastic pipe. So now I can go over here and I can start drawing in. You notice that pipes and structures is grayed out. So I'm going to put pipes only. And from this point, I will just basically go from endpoint to endpoint. And I'm going to go all the way around. So there's that endpoint and so on. And you continue going around. Now, when I take a look at my water line, you'll notice that the water line has a style of just a line with a W. It's got a pretty big gap between these W's compared to what the sanitary and the storm is. So I'm going to just adjust the layer, the line type in that layer. Oops, so if I go to LA for layers, okay, and then I take my C-water pipe. Right now it's set to water. If I choose water 2 for that layer, that line type, now it's going to make the W's a little closer together. Okay, so you'd want to put the water lines all the way down around the loop, and again, in this situation, you'd make sure you have a polyline. Well, actually, this situation, since it's a straight line, the road's not curved, and I could just offset my center line. So I'm going to offset my center line 10 feet. This time, this side, because the storm's on that side. So then what you do is basically, I'm going to edit my network, put in that pipe again, and I'm going to go from the end of that pipe, and since there's no sanitary in here, I'm not too worried, so I'm just going to go maybe out to here and then straight down, perpendicular into here. Now that pipe comes in here. Now from here I can put in more pipe from this end point basically all the way to this end point, so I can have my water supply go down that street. And here I'd offset my line that I have here 10 feet. Now from there, again, I can just put my pipes and go from that point, still 10 feet off, down to this end point, down to this end point, and so on. So I'm going all the way around. Okay, so now that I've got this pipe network stuff working out, I can actually then go in and start setting elevations to these. So if I select this pipe here, I can just go up to pipe properties basically, set my start elevation. I'm going to put 1032. That's a good start elevation to 1032, just a flat pipe. Okay, so that pipe's set to that. The other way we can change things so we can kind of leave the properties open is if I just right click on after I select the pipe and I just choose regular properties. Now I can put in my elevations here too. So 1032 to 1032. And if I hit escape, it deselects, but then I can go in and I can actually select my next pipe. without having to do properties each time. Okay, I can select that one. 1032 to 1032, and so on. You can go all the way around. Okay, so there is a quick way to put elevations to these pipes. If I go over here to my water and I right click and I hit select, okay, that selects all my pipes. Now if I right click and go to properties, if I choose my pipes from my drop down, I can actually go in here and set all of mine to 1032. Now everything is at 1032, so it's a real quick way to just set it, because we set when we set our elevations, we do it a little bit differently um, than the others, because we have to maintain that 7.5 foot down, but it doesn't matter if we're sloping downhill all the time because it's under pressure. So we can have uphill slopes, we can have downhill, we can have flat, it doesn't matter as long as we stay under that 7.5. And we want to hug that 7.5 line as close as we can, so we minimize the amount of stuff we have to cut out. From there, and 1032, I just chose that because I know that's kind of in the range of where my road surface is. It's significantly lower than that, but it's within 10 feet probably. So when I go in and adjust that, I have no issue with that. So now to set the elevations for that, in a previous video I brought this profile view in. Just a quick refresher, to bring that profile view in, you'd want to make sure that you go to your data shortcuts, you go to your alignments and your center line alignments, and basically you choose your these alignments, right click, create a reference. It brings that alignment into our drawing. And again, I talked more about that in a previous video. Then after you've done that, you can select profile, create surface profile, and you can actually pick your alignment, and then you pick your EG and your road FG and add and draw on a profile view, just like we've done before in highways class, and I showed you in the previous video in this class as well. So now that I have this, I've got my existing ground, and this blue line represents my proposed ground. So one thing that I can do to make sure that I have my 7.5 foot depth is I can actually go in here and I can select this profile. I can do a copy. Okay, I can base it on this endpoint as my reference point, and I go back to that same point. Now, if I turn my selection cycling on, my Control W, if I click here, you can see there's two profiles, because there's one that I just copied. So then I choose the one that I just copied, and if you look at the properties, it should be the one on the top, but you'll see one that has like a 1 after it. That's your copy, because it's taking this one and it's making a copy with the same name, but it needs to give it a unique number. And usually it's the one on the top in the selection cycling. So now that I've selected it, I can actually explode it. And now that that object, if I do Control W again to run my selection cycling, turn it on, see it's a block reference now, and then I have the profile underneath it. So the block reference is what I want to be able to move to have my 7.5 foot depth. One thing I need to look at is I can't just take that and move it 7.5 down, because there's vertical exaggeration in this profile view. So if I go over here and I take a look, okay, so 2 of these grids is 4 feet. If I take my distance, so DI, I go from an endpoint to another endpoint, oops, 2 down, so I am going 40 drawing units represents 4 feet. So if 40 drawing units represents 4 feet, that would mean that 10 drawing units would represent 1 foot. So if I have 7.5 feet depth, I multiply that by 10, I got to go 75 units down. Now, that might not be the case for everybody. You might have a different vertical exaggeration. That's why you want to do the distance measurement to find out how much each foot is, and then multiply it by 7.5 so that you can find out how far you have to go down. So mine is 75 down, so I select my block reference. I do a move, M for move, and I'll just go from basically this end point, and I want to make sure that I'm going in the straight down direction, 270 degrees. If you need to turn this restrict cursor on to specified angles, that allows me to kind of snap to that, those 90-degree angles. So I'm going to go straight down, and I type in 75. That is 7.5 feet depth. So I have to make sure that my water pipe stays beneath that. And by setting that water pipe at 1032, they should show up here because you see 1032 is on my grid. So now what I can do is I can go back over to my water. Now, in a situation like this, you really wouldn't want to select all the water and then draw it in there, just because you have stuff that's not associated with that alignment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, just go in here and I'm going to start picking my water pipes. I mean, you could actually isolate this layer if you wanted, if it makes it easier to just kind of drag and click and select. Okay, so I got these pipes. I'm not choosing this pipe because I'm dealing with this main drive. That's the alignment that or profile that I'm working with. So I'm going through and I'm just selecting all these water pipes. I would go all the way around. Right now, for just shortness of video, I'm just doing those. Once I get those selected, I get this option up here, draw on parts and profile. If I select that, it'll ask me my profile view to draw it in. So I go over here, I just select my profile view, and you see now it's put that pipe in here. And I escaped, so make sure that I deselect everything. Now you see here I have each of my pipe segments, and they're right at the 1032 mark for the bottom of the pipe. So now that I've got that, what I'm going to do is I want to make sure that that's kind of staying below that, but I wouldn't want to just leave it here because it's excess depth digging that I would have to do. So what I'm going to do is if you click on the pipe, these grips here, you can grab these and I can drag them up. Now, by selecting both the coming in pipe and the going out pipe, then if I grab the grip, then I'm bringing both of them up together. So I'd select that pipe, grab the grip, move that up, maintaining that my top of my pipe is still below that surface. Okay, go back up. Oops. See there, I didn't select my next pipe. In that situation, then I just grab this grip and I'd make sure I snap to that end point so that I'm maintaining that it's, not separated. So here again, I'm going to grab both of these and I take the grip, drag it up, grab this pipe, drag it up, grab this pipe, drag it up. Okay, so I'm kind of going up and down, just maintaining that 7.5 foot depth at minimum. Okay, so that's a pretty easy way to kind of move things up and down in our water, on our water pipe. Okay, so now we've got that in there. Now you've got, so storm, sanitary, water. Make sure that there's 10 feet at least minimum separated between all of them. Make sure that the sanitary and the water are 7.5 minimum to the top of the pipe from the surface. With our storm, it doesn't really matter too greatly. Sanitary and storm, we maintain at least a 4.4% or greater. If we get down to manholes that are 20 feet deep, we probably want to put a lift station in. Remember, we go through and we rename these structures. So the sanitaries are S and then the number. Storm, the manholes are M and the number. Catch basins are CB and the number. Now, the next thing we would want to do is we'd want to kind of start getting ready for our basically our plan and profile view. So now for the project that we're working on, we're only going to have one plan and profile view. I'm not going to have you do all of them. The way we do this is you basically go and you open up in your CT214 folder. Okay, you open up the finished highway drawing. So I'm going to go in my CT214. I find here my most recent subdivision one that I did my layouts in. So right here is my main subdivision. I open that up. Okay, so now that opens up, I can close out on my sheet set manager. I don't need that. Now if I go back to my subdivision, my one for my grading that I did everything in, I want to pick one area that's probably going to be the most interesting to me to really show what I can do with pipe networks, to showcase my pipe networks the best as far as the final project. So I'm going to come in here. I see, okay, I got some storms and got some interesting crossings going on here. So I'm probably going to pick a area right in this region that I'm going to put my plan and profile into. So it's right around station 30 of my, that's about the center point of my main loop. So if I go back, actually I don't need to go back to my subdivision drawing. If you open up the DC Design Center, okay, you should see your two drawings in here. If they don't show up in here, click Open Drawings. Okay, I'm going to go to my subdivision 2, which is my road one. Go to my layouts. Now you see all those layouts that I created. So now if I hover over these, I can see, okay, loop drive 22 to 27, 27 to 33, 33 to 38. So what I want is this one because my 30 is right in the middle of that. So if I just take this, click and hold, drag and drop into my current grading drawing, you see it shows up in the bottom here. Now I can close out of that design center. I can actually close out of my road subdivision drawing. I don't need that anymore. And now I can click on this new plan and profile sheet. Okay, so now I can go in here and you'll notice, oh, my profile's gone. It's because it doesn't match up with the exact location that the profile was in the last drawing. Easy way to get to it. If I double click in there, I can unlock it. Okay, I can zoom out, find where my profile is. Okay, zoom in here, find where my station 30 is. It's right about there. Okay, want to set my viewport here to the scale of my drawing, which is 1 inch equals 50. Okay, so it'll adjust that. Want to make sure that my stationing shows and all my profiles show and all that. Now the next thing is it's not quite lined up. So I'm going to double click out of my viewport so I don't move anything. Do a P line from a known station up here. So I'll use station 30 because it's pretty close to the middle of my alignment. Go straight down off in this direction. Now all I have to do is line this 30 up with this line, pretty close to it. So if I double click in my viewport now and then just click and drag. Don't zoom in or don't zoom out because it'll screw up my scale. Okay, I'm still at a 1 inch equals 50. Lock it. And I'm pretty well lined up at that point. So now I'm going to select that polyline I drew and erase it. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I've got my water in here, but I do not have my my storm or my sanitary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click in here, double click in here. Now if I go in here and I start selecting my objects, so I'm going to select my structure and my pipe, and that's the only one that shows up on that side. Then I have here, I have a structure, and I have a pipe. Okay, I have another structure and another pipe. Okay, and I still have another structure here. And I have another pipe coming out of there. So all the ones that I see for sanitary, except for this one, because that's not part of my alignment here. So now that I've got that, I hit Draw Parts and Profile. It's asking me to select my profile view. If I just come down here and click in this viewport, and then click that profile view, it should draw that in here. For some reason, it's not, and it could be because of elevation issues. I click on that structure, it'll take a look at my structure properties. Yeah, right now it's all set to 0 for my elevation. So as I change this, things should start showing up. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go in here. Yours should come in because you should have already graded out all your pipes. For some reason it didn't stick in this drawing. One thing just to kind of cover again is I can set all these structures to go, since the storm all goes along my road surface, or my sanitary goes along my road surface, I can set all the rim elevations to the road finish ground all at once. I can do that by expanding the pipe networks, expanding networks. If I go to my sanitary network, which is the one I want to do, I right click, I go to edit network. Okay, now in here in my layout tools, I have this little button over here that is pipe network vistas. If I click on that, okay, the first thing that's going to pop up is my structures. Okay, all my S1 through S40 or something like that. Over here I have reference surface. So if I click the top, scroll down, and I hold shift down and I select the bottom, so it selects all of them. If I go back up and I click on that reference surface, choose my road FG, okay, one issue that I've noticed that it doesn't accept that in this situation. So if I select that top line, go down to the bottom, hold shift down, select the bottom. If I go back up and hold shift down again and then click there, it still keeps all this stuff selected. So I change road FG, hit OK. Now all the rims will go up to that elevation. So if I accept that, now it goes to pipes, I'll just accept that. Now I'll close out of there, go back to my my layout, plan and profile layout. Now you see these structures have come in because the rims have now been set to the elevation at my surface. Now what I want to do is in here I want to adjust my, or yours should already be done, so I'm just going to go in here and pretend this pipe pipe properties, let's say it goes from start invert at 1034, goes ahead at a minus 0.4. Okay, so that works good. So all your stuff should be in here Now you can see this pipe down here, but it's not connected to these structures. It really is, but it just doesn't show up in here. Again, this is an issue with the pipe catalog that we have that we're using from 2016 is not playing nice with 2017. So normally you'd be able to select a structure, whether it's in the profile or in the plan. Normally you'd be able to go to, well, either grab this grip and drag it down so that it's below that structure or snap to the bottom of that structure, or you'd normally be able to go in structure properties and actually click control sump by and choose an elevation and actually type in an elevation for the sump. Unfortunately, because of that little issue with the 2017, it doesn't work. So just leave it at depth. But one thing you can do just to make things look decent is if you scroll down under the part properties for that structure, you can see rim to sump height. I can go in here and I can manually change that, and you should see, if I hit apply, you should see that structure drop. Okay, so now it's not quite to the bottom of that, so maybe I do 11, hit apply. Okay, looks pretty good. We're covered to that base. You wouldn't want the sump to drop too far below, but it'll look good in our profile view. So I'll hit OK to accept that. Now I've got that structure in there. Same thing here. Okay, if it could select that structure and go to structure properties. Okay, under part properties, I scroll down. Oh, I didn't hit escape. So I'll just escape so I'm not selecting anything. Select that. Structure properties. Go down to the bottom. Now instead of 8.72, I'll put 11 here. Hit apply. Okay, it drops a little too low. So maybe I'm going to go up to 10.5. Okay, that's looking pretty decent. I'll accept it, hit OK. Now I've got a nice looking pipe in there. And then I'd want to make sure that everything in here is looking good. So now, as far as what I'm expecting to be printed out for the final, it'll be one plan and profile sheet. So just like this, you should concentrate on getting the pipes working the best in this area of your plan and profile sheet, but focus on also grading out afterwards. After you've focused on this and you've got time, start grading out, making sure your other pipes are at the right slopes and depths and offsets, because besides looking at your printout of this, I will go into your drawing and basically start from the area that you have printed, and probably work another about 3 views or so down the line, just to make sure that you're maintaining your slopes and things are flowing right. I won't go through every single pipe on your site, but I will look a little bit ahead of what you've got here. So really the next things to kind of look at in with this is how to stylize things and get things to look good for the final print. So I'm going to end this video here, and then I'll continue on with another video basically showing how to clean up and print or prepare for the print for the final drawing.